Imagine uncovering the private grocery lists, medical notes, and heartfelt letters of literary giants like Dylan Thomas and Sylvia Plath. These intimate details, long hidden away, are now seeing the light of day, revealing the raw, often vulnerable lives behind the masterpieces. Among the treasures? Dylan Thomas's peculiar shopping list: tobacco, Swiss roll, Irish whiskey, Guinness, and monkey nuts, a glimpse into the daily habits of one of the 20th century's greatest poets. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. These artifacts are part of a trove of personal documents and letters, many never before seen by the public, recently discovered in the case files of the Royal Literary Fund, RLF, a charity that has been quietly supporting writers in need for generations. And this is the part most people miss. These files aren't just historical curiosities, they're windows into the struggles, triumphs, and contradictions of literary life. Take Sylvia Plath, for instance. A previously unpublished note from her doctor details her hospitalization for an appendectomy, tucked away in Ted Hughes's application documents. Or Doris Lessing, the only British woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature, who moved to Britain with just £20 after her marriage ended. In a 1955 letter, she candidly describes her precarious existence, living on my pen ever since, though very precariously. But here's the controversial bit. Lessing also reveals she turned down lucrative commercial writing gigs, like scripting murder stories for TV, because they didn't align with her artistic vision. Is it noble to prioritize art over income, or is that a luxury only a few can afford? The archives are brimming with such dilemmas. James Joyce, in his 1915 application, laments receiving nothing in the way of royalties, while working on what would become Ulysses. Ezra Pound, in a letter supporting Joyce, writes, he has lived for 10 years in obscurity and poverty, that he might perfect his writing and be uninfluenced by commercial demands. But is this romanticized struggle a necessary rite of passage for artists, or a systemic failure to value creative work? The RLF's files also expose the harsh realities of literary careers. D.H. Lawrence, Bram Stoker, and even Samuel Taylor Coleridge sought its aid. Dylan Thomas, in his 1938 application, writes, I have been trying to live by my writing for 5 years, and have lived in poverty nearly all that time. His plea was met with a brutal rejection from Whitehall, questioning whether a 23-year-old poet should have married and started a family. Does this sound familiar? The debate over whether artists should get a real job is as old as art itself. But should creativity be a privilege, or a right? Fast forward to today, and the struggles persist. According to the Authors Licensing and Collecting Society, professional authors in the UK earn a median income of just £7,000. Edward Kemp, who runs the RLF, notes that mid-list fiction writers are increasingly squeezed, with big publishers funneling money to a select few. Is this a golden age for literature, or a crisis in the making? Contemporary writers like Ali Smith, Monique Roffey, and Anna Burns have also benefited from the RLF, as has Hanif Qureshi after a paralyzing accident. Sometimes bad things happen to good writers, the RLF's former tagline reads. But these archives remind us that behind every great work is a human story, often one of resilience, sacrifice, and quiet desperation. So, here's the question for you. Do we romanticize the starving artist narrative too much, or is there something inherently noble in pursuing art despite the odds? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Agree, disagree, or somewhere in between.